The world of heavyweight combat has always carried a mythic aura, but nothing compares to the rare occasions when the biggest, wildest, most unrestrained giants on the planet collide. These are not just fighters. They are mountains in motion, creatures of unimaginable power whose very presence seems to warp the air around them. Their footsteps shake the canvas, their punches echo like distant thunder, and their rage burns with the ferocity of something primal and ancient. When warriors of this scale meet, the ring transforms into a battlefield where logic dissolves and survival becomes the only goal. Every clash becomes a spectacle of chaos, force, and raw human will, the kind of moments that force an entire arena to sit on the edge of their seats, holding their breath as these titans duke it out. Before he became a walking meme and a cautionary tale, Bob Sapp was a force that terrified even the toughest heavyweights. Once upon a time, the beast did not merely show up for a paycheck, he showed up to destroy. Those who witnessed his early rampages understood why his name sent a chill through the fight world. In one unforgettable matchup, Sapp stepped in looking more like a runaway freight train than a fighter. Across from him stood a massive opponent who looked like he had been carved out of pure bulk, a man who could have been the mascot for an all-you-can-eat buffet. But size alone meant nothing against Sapp's explosive power. From the opening seconds, he launched forward with terrifying aggression, pounding the giant's head like it was a battering ram target. Each strike looked like it could collapse a building, and soon the oversized rival was crashing to the canvas, overwhelmed and helpless. Yet even as Sapp dominated, his opponent tried resorting to desperate tactics, leaning onto him, trying to use weight instead of skill. But Sapp wasn't playing those games. In a violent burst, he unleashed a punch so explosive it was as if he had fired a rocket directly into the man's jaw. The arena erupted as the giant crumpled, left staring into the void as Sapp stood over him like a creature that had just defended his territory. For a moment, the world remembered that the beast hadn't always been a punchline. He had once been the nightmare no heavyweight ever wanted to face. Meanwhile, far away in the frozen wilderness of Russia, a different kind of brutality unfolded. In the land where ice, steel, and vodka forged men harder than iron, promoters decided that traditional combat wasn't enough. They created a spectacle where massive warriors, men who looked like failed science experiments or unsupervised bodybuilder projects, met in bare-knuckle destruction. In one unforgettable brawl, two titans stepped into a makeshift ring, both towering, both monstrous, both looking like they consumed entire sheep for breakfast. As soon as the fight began, the crowd witnessed an avalanche of violence. One fighter, built like a wild grizzly on a diet of steroids, launched forward with terrifying ferocity. His fists hammered into his opponent again and again, sending shockwaves through the arena as the other giant toppled to the ground like a felled redwood. But giants do not fall easily. With staggering willpower, the battered warrior dragged himself up, refusing to surrender. In the next round, he gathered every ounce of strength remaining in his colossal frame and began to fight back. The audience roared as the momentum shifted, but the Yeti-like brute across from him had no intention of letting the story become a comeback fairy tale. With another monstrous blow, he sent his opponent crashing down once more, ending the fight in a display of primal dominance. It was a battle with no real losers, because the spectacle itself was the victory, the kind of fight fans would talk about for years. The madness continued across Europe in 2011 when Alexander Lungu and Neil Cook squared off. Looking at their physiques, it seemed less like a fight and more like two loyal customers arguing at a brewery over who drank the last keg. But when the bell rang, Lungu surged forward with surprising speed for a man of his size, unleashing furious punches that rocked Cook's enormous body. Cook tried to smirk and taunt him, pretending the storm wasn't rolling toward him. It was a fatal mistake. Lungu, unimpressed by the theatrics, unleashed a barrage of brutal Soviet-style strikes that turned the ring into a punishment chamber. In the end, Cook was forced to kneel as if paying tribute to the man who had just rearranged his understanding of pain. One of the strangest clashes in combat sports history took place in 2016 when two complete opposites met. On one side was a fighter who could easily pass for a Kung Fu Panda stunt double, round, heavy, and always looking like he was one step away from asking for a snack break. On the other stood Hongman Choi, a towering monument of bone and muscle whose sheer existence felt more like a laboratory experiment than a product of nature. Even their press conference ignited sparks, with tension building long before the opening bell. Yet when the fight started, the heavy underdog charged in with explosive energy, unleashing rapid-fire punches that shocked even the announcers. Watching him attack with such determination felt like watching a hungry warrior fighting for the last meal on Earth. But Choi's ungodly size was not just for show. After absorbing the early onslaught, he unleashed a colossal series of strikes that instantly changed the course of the fight. His blows crashed down like wrecking balls, flattening the smaller giant and flipping the battle upside down. It didn't matter how fast the punches came from the underdog. One clean hit from Choi was enough to send the whole arena into a frenzy. It was another reminder that in the world of giants, one mistake could be fatal. What all these battles shared was a raw, unfiltered look at what happens when the largest, wildest fighters on Earth collide. These were not polished athletes relying on strategy and finesse. They were behemoths, predators, and spectacle makers whose every move carried the weight of a sledgehammer. Fans didn't come for technical perfection. They came to witness chaos, power, and the unpredictable carnage that only true giants could create. If you loved witnessing these monstrous clashes and want more breakdowns of the wildest, most unbelievable battles in combat sports, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. Which giant showdown should we cover next? Who deserves the spotlight in the next episode? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to turn on notifications so you never miss a moment of the action.